All right, let's get back to our top story. O.J. Simpson headed to prison. The former football star was sentenced to at least 15 years behind bars for his involvement in an armed robbery. Simpson was charged with leading a group of armed men into a Las Vegas hotel room last year. They were planning to take sports memorabilia. Simpson was convicted of armed robbery, kidnapping, and assault in early October. Today, Simpson downplayed this whole robbery and tried to apologize to the court.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all of it. But all the other guys except Mr. Stewart volunteered. They wanted to go. Mr. Stewart is the only person that I asked, would he come to help me? All the rest of them, when they found out, they volunteered. Come on, let us go. One of them wanted to be the security guy. He claimed he was a security guy. But I didn't mean to hurt anybody, and I didn't mean to steal from anybody.
If Simpson serves 15 years of this sentence, even with parole, he wouldn't get out of jail until he was 70 years old. Joining me with more on this, former prosecutor and radio talk show host Vinnie Politan and attorney Ivan Golde. He specializes in criminal and sports law. Gentlemen, actually, I want your reaction to Simpson standing up and saying what he said in court. Vinnie, I'll give you the first shot at that. What'd you think of that?
Well, I thought he came across genuine, but the question is, anytime a criminal defendant gets up in a courtroom, is he choked up and crying because of what he did to others, or is he choked up and crying because of what he did to himself? That's the problem. The other problem is, now wasn't the time for him to speak. If he was going to tell that story and give that defense, he should have done it during the trial. Maybe he could have convinced the jury, but it wasn't going to do much to move the judge today.
Ivan, how do you think that played to Judge Glass?
I don't think Judge Glass appreciated that very much. I don't think she was very impressed, and I do agree. O.J. Simpson should have definitely testified at this trial. That was his chance. Judge Glass had some harsh words for O.J. Simpson. And one thing about Judge Glass, before she sentenced O.J. Simpson, she went on and on about how she was not considering the 1994 case against O.J. Simpson. There are some problems with this case. There were no African Americans on this jury. The jury foreman himself said after the verdict he thought Simpson committed the murders in 1994. So I think Judge Glass was just sort of covering things for the record when she went on and on, I thought, beyond the scope, beyond the call of duty, into how she wasn't taking into account the prior case against Simpson, the murder case in Los Angeles.
Okay, we've had a lot of callers holding for a while wanting to get in on this. No surprise. Lila from Pennsylvania, what's on your mind?
Well, I think he had a good speech today, but then I don't think it changed my mind at all. I think he was guilty at both counts years ago and this time, but he's just trying to talk himself out of it. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that they should just put him in jail and throw the key away.
All right, Miss Lila calling from Pennsylvania. Miss Lila, thank you. Gladys from Florida, what do you think about 15 years for O.J. Simpson?
Well, I think it was an unfair deal that they gave him today. At least he got there and he had a chance to apologize. Whether he meant it or not, he got before the world and apologized. They have other devices that they could have put on him for the 15 years to let him walk. They could have put him on house arrest. He have his children to still think about. They don't have a mother. Now they don't have a father. And to hear people humiliating him on the air, I think is unfair. Those children deserve some freedom also. They should not speak that way about him, even though he did a crime. But he's a human being.
So, Gladys, you do think he's guilty, though?
I can't say he's guilty. I wasn't there. But from what they say, if listen, if you do have something you did, you must pay your crime. But for a man 61 years old, he be coming out of jail the next, 6 to 7 years. Look, what is he going to do for the society? His children probably don't even remember him. What's going to happen to them as a father?
All right. Gladys, thanks for calling. So Gladys, they're saying he may or may not be guilty. Whatever the case, Ms. Gladys thinks 15 years is too much. Someone who doesn't think 15 years is too much is the Goldman family. They were there for the trial. They were there for the sentencing. And Yale Galanter, O.J.'s defense attorney, was asked afterwards about the Goldman's presence there. He said that he thought, this is a quote, he thought it was inappropriate for them to be there. Let's listen to what Kim Goldman had to say.
The time that he is not out causing havoc and reminding us of the pain that he caused us 14 years ago is an amazing feeling. And to watch him sit there in shackles, to watch him walk back through that door, twice in our lifetime he's walked out the same door as our family, and it was nice to see him walk back into his door, into his jail cell.
And of course, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the murder of Ron Goldman, Kim's brother. And you had some thoughts on this as well, Ivan. You said that you think that the previous trial did seep into what happened here, even saying that.
I do, and I think Judge Glass made it clear for the record that she did not take that into consideration, because an appellate court will look at this closely. And believe me, no African Americans on the jury. The prosecutor dismissed the last two potential jurors who are both African American. And let me just say one more thing about O.J. Simpson.
Quickly, Ivan.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I think it's a sad tale. His wife is dead. Ronald Goldman is dead. O.J. Simpson now is in prison for the rest of his life. It's a sad ending to a man who was truly an American icon.
Well, I think the one thing we can all agree on, taking O.J. out of it, it's sad for the children. I think everyone can agree on that. All right, Ivan Golde.